Welcome back to the DreamHack PUBG Showdown, coming to you live from Austin, Texas. And there are just 2 rounds remaining in the best of 12. But who's going to cinch it? There is still a chance to catch up with FaZe at the top of the table. But can any of the teams do it? Because we've only got 2 more games left. Is the next game the most important one?
I feel like it is. I mean, we've got 3 teams that potentially could take it away from FaZe. So this is really the game they need to step up. Otherwise, FaZe is just going to do their usual stuff. They're going to get into the top 5 and fight for the win.
And we even saw that last time, like, you know, to the risk of over-talking that last fight, what they did was smart. They sent Mixie out there to lay by the wall. They stood back in the trench with vehicles, and they sort of said, okay, if you win the gunfight, you get to go 1v1. We get to follow, we get to grab the best compound and guarantee top 3. If you fail, then we're gonna do a fun split move and get to a tree and try to hide and guarantee top 3. So they're playing very smart at this point. And when FaZe is playing smart, it becomes a lot harder to catch up to them.
For me right now, it's becoming about the battle for second place between Optic and Liquid. So let's take a look at the standings. Can Optic catch up with FaZe, do you think?
I mean, anybody can catch up at this point. That's why this game is so important. The lead isn't insurmountable. It is massive. It's going to require either 2 chicken dinners and a little bit of quiet, low, and slow play, or a chicken dinner and an insane performance and a failure by FaZe. And you cannot count on a failure by FaZe. I would guarantee they probably walk away with a minimum of 200 points per game in the next 2.
Yeah, I agree.
Which means you have to do your math and you have to perform so that you get more than that on the next 2 games.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Avenger, but Pittsburgh Knights seem to be going back to what they did in the qualifiers. Although they didn't get a chicken dinner, they qualified because they placed so highly every single round. And here they are again. They haven't got a chicken dinner so far today, but they're up there in the top 3.
I mean, it's because of their kills. They frag out. They're the 2nd highest fragging team right now in this tournament, so it's because they frag out. I'm not sure if Texas is up there, but he's definitely one of the reasons they're killing a lot.
Knights and Optic are essentially sister cities across the ocean from each other, right? They have that Kingdom consistency style of play. They know how to frag out, but they don't force the fights. They choose things, they go the smart way, and they don't feel like I have to get 17 kills. They say, you know what, if I can get 3 and the chicken dinner, I've made a good choice, or he's 2nd plus 5, and that's the way that they play. Not a surprise, both are in 2nd place, but sometimes that's the problem, Frankie. If they play like that, it's hard to catch a team like FaZe, who is literally just looking for violence.
So perhaps we'll see them a bit more safe.
You have to. Well, no, I think they'll go a little crazier this time. It's time for them to take off the restrainers and go after FaZe and others.
Unleash the whole team, maybe.
Yes.
Let's see what you guys at home think. We're ready to get your votes. So we're going to just bring up our codes for you there. So use the hashtag and then the code for your team to show us who you want to win. We've seen a lot of love for Vitality and Roski in the vote so far, so I'm interested to see if that has changed since the last round. But we are going to actually have another video before then. And this team is one that we might have just seen do particularly well, but maybe has been a little bit of a sleeper team so far. And that team is, of course, Team Dignitas. But do you think they've got what it takes to rise up towards the top of the table after that win?
Honestly, I feel so. I mean, I think they're one of the strongest teams in North America right now. They're in a solid top 3, but still easily could take the 1st position in North America as the strongest team right now. It's a new team. They might have some sort of a honeymoon feel to them, but still, I think they dominate when they play online and have played real well here.
Brilliant. Well, let's have a look and meet Team Dignitas.
My name's Timothy Ebarb, and I go by the in-game name of Uncivil, and I play for Team Dignitas. Our biggest strength as a team would have to be that any one player on our team can just change the outcome of a game completely. I think all of us individually are that skilled. We don't have a weakness. I think we're the best team in the world, and we're going to prove it.
I would say our team spirit is really good. We've just been boot camping for 1 week in Philadelphia, and it's been so great. We're on the top, I would say.
My name is Peter Laston. My in-game name is Wookie, and I play for Team Dignitas. I am the primary sniper and the tip of the spear. My favorite weapon in game is the M24. Sadly, I can't get my hands on it every game because it's a trade-only weapon. But if I do get my hands on it, then you better watch out.
Playing on the big stage for me has been, one of my biggest dreams since I got into esports. And, playing here at DreamHack is it's going to be phenomenal, I think.
I think personally we're going to take home the trophy. It's not going to be a contest. There's a storm coming. Watch out.
Watch out for Dignitas indeed, and especially as they just took that last chicken dinner.
Yeah, there's a storm coming. Watch out for them. I mean, they trained. They said they were in Philadelphia. They weren't just in Philly. They were at the Philadelphia 76ers training compound doing their boot camp. I mean, they had access to NBA level trainers, nutritionists, physiotherapists, and I talked to the guys. They said we came away with a lot from that camp. Not only was it great for us physically and sort of mentally, but it was huge for team building. They said they came away with a new sense of how they work together. And honestly, I think if you talk to Uncivils, they'll say we're significantly better at closing games. That's what we do. So, I mean, it's cool to see, I guess, what you would call traditional mainstream sports really sort of embracing esports and welcoming us into their facilities and letting us sort of use that to get better.
I agree. I mean, it's two duos that basically come together. They play Global Loot League. Wookie Boogie and Gustav, they got second. This old shoot to kill guys on Civil and Adam play fantastically as well. But this new squad here, I feel like they're a really, really good team. And even though they've been so shortly together, I really feel like the team chemistry is really good. And as we heard on Civil say, any player on the team can make a huge difference. We saw Wookie Boogie doing that. They have amazing fraggers on the team, so I really feel like they're a top team.
Well, you guys at home have been voting in chat, and while we work out the result, I think we should get our hands dirty on the map.
So I do want to talk a little about what we can maybe expect from this one. We picked out sort of our top 3 teams in a sense of who could catch up to this one, and these are the drop points that they're most likely to be using. We have seen a little bit of flex, nothing from Liquid. Liquid is Yasnaya and never anything else. But chances are, this is where the meat and potatoes needs to happen. If we get a circle, in my opinion, up here in this section of the map, particularly, I would say one of those prison shelter ones that we saw earlier in the week, then there is a chance that we see FaZe get picked off early during their rotation because they do like to come up here to prison. So if it's in this area, I think these guys will have a safe push in and they could win the chicken dinner that takes us into a first place fight scenario. I think that if we end up with something a little farther away, it's gonna be harder for them, and then we're gonna be seeing who takes home 20,000 instead of 50.
Well, I think it's time to get your predictions, guys. So, Avenger.
Honestly, I think this is the time for Knights to take a win, another win here. So for Knights.
I was going to say Knights, but you know what? I think that, well, one of the 2 teams has to step up, and I want Liquid to also do that. I think Liquid traditionally plays better, in my opinion, late in the day. They have significantly better sort of fatigue resistance than a lot of teams, so I think that they've got what it takes to step up right now, take this thing home.
I was totally going to say Knights as well. I promise I'm not copying you. Why would I copy you, Martin? Honestly. No, I'm going to actually say Kinguin because I feel like they need to pull something out of the bag. They need to unleash that Gaxi if they want to climb up the ranks, and it's getting a little bit late in the day, boys. So please, can you pull this one out for me? Please, please. Let's find out what Twitch chat are thinking, if they're agreeing with us. Space Station Gaming, 29%, Rusky 24%, and FaZe, I feel like they've been 13% every time.
I mean, there's a group that definitely is just voting for who they think is actually probably going to take this one home, and statistics say if you just keep backing FaZe, chances are you're going to win. I think both times that I was right at pick my FaZe picks. So
Demon and Matrim, remember, it's not about what you want. It's about what you think, mate.
It is about what I want. I still want Optic to get a win here, so I'm going to go ahead and say Optic.
I like it.
Demon?
I'm going to swing and say FaZe are going to win again. Honestly, I can't see anybody stopping them right now. There's a lot of people complaining about all sorts of different conditions. You know, at the end of the day, nothing seems to be derailing FaZe. They seem to have this nailed on.
Well, we're going to swing off and let's swing into the game with you guys.
Thank you very much. So here we go. We're into championship mode, effectively. You know, ordinarily we'd have 4 games on the LAN. We have 6 here at DreamHack, and we're into those extra rounds. Now, obviously, we just heard Toffee's talking about it. Team Liquid, you know, they have that fatigue factor will start to come into this when you start playing longer games. The Samty in there is sadly banned from Twitch these days, but it is still alive in our hearts and memories, so we still can keep it going. But yeah, we're talking about fatigue factor. They have played 4 games today. They're into that 5th game. They've been in here since probably around about 10 a.m.-ish onwards, so it has been a long day for them. We're now into, what are we at, 6:15, so 6 hours in those booths already. Obviously, they had a lot longer yesterday as well, so it's definitely a factor.
I would say so, and specifically, you also have to remember all the guys that were having to play through the BYOC part. They had a full extra day that was just real long to try to make it inside of here.
And that's what makes Optic in 2nd place so much more impressive, right? Because they went through that grueling run. Nova also, I think, in around 5th or 6th as well. So certainly both these 2 teams from the BYOC have had a tremendous effort. Valiant attempt, but we're now talking about championship mode. Who is going to take home the win? And more importantly, who's going to be looking at 2nd, 3rd, 4th? Because that's starting to separate now. FaZe are, I think, around 700 points ahead of anyone else. So it's going to take basically 2 solid wins from one of these top 4 teams to challenge FaZe.
And so this is it. We only have the 2 rounds remaining. These guys have to show up. If anybody's wanting to come up and try to contend with FaZe, you have to fight for 2 wins in a row, which is doable. We have seen it happen before. We've seen Liquid just go absolutely crazy and get multiple wins in a row before. So it's all going to be about how they manage to perform inside of this round right now. It's going to be such a huge influencer.
The circle could be a big pivoting point, but the bird is in the air. You can see we are live once again as the players get ready to drop down into Erangel. The plane will be heading straight over the top of Milta and shooting range, so that is the direction of path. It actually opens up the map for the majority of the teams. The boys that like Wildcard may be looking at Primorsk. They may switch it up and go Zaki or George Paul North like they have been a couple of times. We'll see where they go. It does, of course, mean that obviously the lead team right now, which is FaZe Clan, are going to be just having an easy free drop into Milta and looting for a long time.
And we actually have 2 different squads now that are going over towards Military Base Island. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Nova drop on Novo. Just that's one of the things that they do. I almost think they do it because their name just sounds so similar there. We've got the guys from Safe Res. They're probably going to do their push over towards Military Base proper. That's where they like to go to. Way up on the top of this, we still have Envious that's inside, just now bailing out. I guess that they're going to try to do a shift and go back over towards North George,
Yeah, they've been kind of nomads, effectively, bouncing around, looking for homes, trying to find a place. Maluk's actually looking to try and challenge one of the vehicles. He's going to dive off towards further south, so he should be safe. Tempo Storm, of course, looking for that south coast, west coast Gatka spread loot system that they have been doing a lot. They're just avoiding totality, basically just not avoiding Pachinki. They don't want to get caught up in any of that madness. Wildcard themselves, we were talking about how they've been going down to Primorsk. It's a long way to Primorsk, so they may sit and look for that south coast loot instead.
We can see that Locknarb took a couple of pot shots over at Little Prodigy and them as they were trying to make it over to a vehicle, but they did manage to make it out and away. Coming over here with Rusky, who's got caught up in a buggy fight. He's had so much trouble and just comes up from back behind and takes him down.
It's always that surprise buggy from behind that catches you out there. Finishes off with a punch. Lost almost got run over by Interrogate there, I think, but they do manage to work it out and they take down the Mad Rusky. It's sadly, it's the worst thing, right? As you start a game. I mean, at home, you can jump in another game. You can't do that here. You're going to have to sit there for 40 minutes now waiting for that next main.
Moral support for your squad now.
Yeah.
You just sit there and like, you go, guys, we can do this.
Well, let's talk about this circle. It is a big southern circle, and, you know, actually, I was trying to think of, have we had any of those circles that finished downhill to Power Way? We haven't as of yet throughout DreamHack. So it is going to swing down that way. I would say the center point is probably sort of the shelter prison area, which obviously we just had Toffees talking about in the last match. This is where a circle area, God, the man can predict things. It's amazing. He's managed to predict exactly where the circle was going. And obviously he talked about it. FaZe will look to sit on that wall where Voxic is right now, on the wall of prison.
It's going to be interesting to see specifically how Secret plays around this and all the guys on Military Base. They could potentially push forward. They have to, everybody knows, you don't go Milta Power. That's going to be where Vitality and FaZe are going to be at right now. Coming over here with Wildcard, it looks like they're transitioning and they're going to do a hard push off to the west. They might go over there and hit Primorsk. This is a real late looting choice to make because they're going to be cutting all the way across over there. They've got to get looted up really quick and then run all the way across the whole island.
What is Zampa doing down that way? He's way out of his position, that's for sure. They're just going to cross on over. The path's just going to ease it up. Probably aware that it is wildcard going down there. It's these guys do a lot of research. They're going to know exactly generally who's going to be going that way. So it's interesting. Wildcard are going to commit down to that Primor spot. Tume is a little further off. They do have Ferry Pier available to them if they need it, normally where Space Station Gaming would be. They themselves chose to switch it up, of course, and go into the Povka once again.
What's kind of interesting with this is look at how separated out Papaya is from everybody on this squad. They normally play around that farm area. They've got a lot of control over that region right now. It seems like Papaya's pushing up, going for a little bit more of a centered position. We actually have seen Secret play around the shelter multiple times now. Yeah,
I wonder if it's going to keep on pushing that way. There's decent loot to be had in there. Actually, I believe Texas is in shelter right now, so maybe there won't be any decent loot to be had after he's finished in there. But Knights, they're doing their usual spread. Ordinarily, they would push over the Povka way. I think they're obviously aware that Space Station have been in there, but they have clashed in matches in the past throughout this tournament so far, so well aware of it. Nobody challenging FaZe Clan this time around. We did have Nova drop there one game yesterday, but nobody else has decided to try and risk that sense.
You'd almost think that sometimes whenever this happens, some of the lower teams that are trying to make their way up, you really kind of do something. You have to neutralize FaZe, because if you want to come in and you really want to climb through the leaderboard, specifically you're in your like in those 4th, 5th style of spots, and you're really trying to make it into the big money area, you might potentially drop down on FaZe, even though it's super risky, and see if you can get some damage, because trying to eliminate them getting any more points. Also, you might see some people potentially coming and trying to come after Optic. Might see some people trying to really push over towards Liquid and their drops in the next round as well.
Is Papaya setting up a camp? I don't know. I mean, I know he's there. Like, he knows that Vitality always rotate past that position. I'm just interested in whether he's got a weapon that's able to challenge Shiv, because Shiv's coming straight in. He's got no idea. He's just come right around the corner. Papaya ready and waiting. Surprise! Secret deliver, and they are the nemesis. That's the word I'm after. Of Vitality. Every time Vitality run head-on into one.
You can tell that this is really throwing Vitality off their game. They're not used to having anybody go over towards farm. Farm and squads is kind of hard to loot out. You really do have to separate out and put you in a risky position. So it's kind of cool to see that adaptation come out from Papaya, get into that spot, cut them off, do a little bit of damage to Vitality very early inside this round.
And I hate to harp on it. I hate to go back to it. This is, I mean, I was with Papaya coming from Houston to Dallas, from Houston to Austin, sorry. And I talked to him then about Vitality, because I was like, are you going to be doing the same spots in and around farm? Are you going to be saying it? Because obviously Vitality had just struggled to qualify. They didn't get through to PGI, and obviously a lot of talk about it. And we were talking about, look, everybody knows their paths. And Secret, they already proved that in previous tournaments. They've set up camps from before. And that was basically, he was stood the other side of the building, waiting for someone to come to that building. He knew they were going to do that.
I have to say that Secret is probably one of the most patient teams inside of this. They will go somewhere, and they will sit, and they'll gather information, and they will take the longest time that they possibly can before they feel like they're forced to make a move there. Now, everybody was talking about how they want Liquid to come up and perform inside this round. Coming out with a crate this early inside the game is good. Could be very, very big.
Yeah, that's a decent... Mark 14 has really been buffed up with the DMR changes, of course. It does put him in a tricky position, but the Wookiee will be able to get away. The Bush Wookiee is what I mean, not Wookiee Bookie. Just before you get confused, Liquid are going to get out of there. So Warehouse looks like where Knights are going to push towards. Now, Prime Territory, of course, you've got the... oh, no, poor old Rusky. You're going to be driving past going, no, it's already been looted. The Alamo, obviously Prime position. Dre's actually passing on by that one at the moment. The Warehouse that Texas is in, not so strong as a defensive point because it's so wide open. Looking towards obviously the hills and edges of Prison being the prime central spots right now. Everybody on the rotate.
Now this is kind of interesting since we saw an early down and kill coming onto Vitality. They've kind of moved into a different position, and this is going to allow the guys that are on military base what could be a little bit easier of a path. They were going to have to drive through Vitality and Secret. Now Vitality has kind of retreated back just a little bit, so could open up an easy path for some of these teams that are in the southern area to rotate in.
FaZe, are they going to go for their usual spot? They're actually going via Lumber Mill at the moment. Papaya is completely, you were talking about how far away from his team. He's continued to just be miles away from his team. Nova actually coming through, maybe somewhat surprised to learn that Vitality, who predominantly are very late rotators, have not moved. So Nova have come in kind of sandwiched between them. Kinguin and Envy, along with Rusky, all rotating past. Of course, Kinguin coming down from South Georgia Pole, Envy up in North Georgia Pole, all making their way in towards this circle area. as Jesse continues to pump along. Now, Envy, they had a great day yesterday. It's just not really been there since, though. They've not really posted a decent result since.
Yeah, they've just had a couple of awkward things happen to him at the beginning of rounds. Like we saw earlier, somebody dropping on top of him with Stalber. Venere is trying to find where he's going to go. It looks like he was looking towards shelter. He's going to get scared off of that location. Caden's driving on the outside of this. You can see that multiple people are starting to take a couple of pot shots towards him. I think he'll be able to make it over there pretty safely, but that's going to push him over next to where Papaya and some of FaZe have started to rotate at.
Did Team Liquid make a move? Yes, they did. We saw, obviously, James earlier on going for the crate. Envy are going to come in. Oh, that's risky. So, obviously, got into the other entrance of Shelter. Obviously, don't expect them to be rushing through Shelter and try and fight each other that way. They're just looking for the hillside edge, the support and shelter that it effectively gives you. I hate to use a pun. Sharky is actually going straight towards them, straight towards Kinguin. Knight, sorry, in the distance there. He's going to better get a bit of a surprise if he comes around this corner. They're just going to come over the brow of the hill. They might be able to catch him in the back. He's going fairly straight, and yes, they will catch him. Sharky will go down, the man that's basically picked up all the kills for Rusky, and you got a feel for him. That's not looking good now.
Yeah, that's 2 members already down for them because we saw the, I guess, the buggy chaos that happened for them at the beginning of this round. You can see the other guys from Envy looks like they're trying to come back over, meet with Caden. Jesse Lowell was out doing a little bit of scouting. Kinguin is actually approaching right on top of Papaya now. You can see Secret's holding that area that Papaya was at earlier, but he's gone to a full force push onto the side of that. He's got FaZe on one side of him now and Kinguin on the other.
And look at Knights. So those 2 wall positions, remember game number 8 it was, I believe, yesterday. Game number 6, sorry, yesterday. There wasn't 8 games. Knights and FaZe obviously had that epic moment. Knights came out on top in that game. So they're going to be thinking ahead on that one, thinking, okay, Circle has finished in this position. We're fairly central. It could sharp shift any direction. We know that. Kinguin themselves, they need to try and keep 4 alive. That's what they're after right now. They've got a long hold run to try and make it into that top 4.
So we've got Vitality that's also in another spot off to the side on this. Looks like everybody's moving over towards the lumberyard area itself. It seems like that's where they get a feel that this round might be ending at. Specifically on the map, you can see the northern area is entirely wide out and in the open right now. Really just Dignitas up there right now.
Tempo Storm, the only team really rolling in late. The guys are from Godres as well, still on Sosnovka Island. Wildcard even coming up from Primorsk as well. Kickstart there, blasting past on the bike. Our observers always waiting for that bike to get flipped over. It's going to happen sooner or later.
This is a very interesting point to hold for Totality right here because they have a lot of high ground positioning. You can look down over on the farm. You can flip over onto the other side, look to the northern area. A lot of people kind of refer to that as Death Road. If you can kind of hold your spot on that and it ends up shifting this direction, you can catch so many people in transitions.
So while Liquid moved out of Yaz Knight, Dignitas have come all the way down from Severny as well. Papaya, he's taking shots. He's not going to be able to get in that compound, I don't think. He's going to have to get around the backside. He's trying to finally group up with his team. He's finally managed to join up with him. Kinguin popping shots off towards him, though, but we'll be safe. We'll be able to get him healed, self-healed up there. Dignitas, they've come all the way down from Severny. They've swung down on towards the edge of Mansion and the compounds up in the hills over that way. Texas taking peeks over towards, Optic. Hetra taking a big old hit there from the Mini 14.
All right, we've got the circle compressing in a couple more seconds before we see where the new circle will be at. We have everybody that's kind of leaned into a very centralized strategy right now. Wildcard looks like they're finally all starting to connect up. They're still looking for their home right now. I think they're going to play that divot just off the side, or they're going to be playing the reds off of it. But you can see Totality is just trying to light up Wildcard on that transition. They're just trying to find anybody that they can. You can see that they're hunting kills right now. They want those points. They're trying to use that as a way to climb up through the leaderboards, eliminate the guys that are around you, try to make some plays off of it, because specifically they can continue pushing a little bit further to the east and kind of drop down right on top of Wildcard.
I like the adaptation from FaZe going for that 2-2 on the wall. They got one that can basically jump in a car and go north as fast as possible, one that can jump in a car and go south as fast as possible. It's a big southern shift. My word, the crates come in, but look at that circle shift. It's gone all the way down to Milta. Now, with all that water encompassed in it, we know it will pull away from it, so it's almost certainly a Milta finish now.
See, right now, Safe Res was just coming across the bridge, and they're like, oh, where do we go now? Liquid's on a hard push already. All these guys that are up in the north, they're just going to have to hop in their vehicles, and they have to move. You can see there's so many cars that are coming around right now.
The Knights, they're scrambling. They're literally on the bikes, get down south. Everybody is rotating. Look at that. It's a mass migration down south. Everybody wants to try and find a compound. The guys from Godres, they were hanging around on the edge of the bridge, so they've got in the compound early. Wildcard are clashing down on towards them. FaZe are blasting straight down, but Nova are already in Milta, so they're going to get a little surprise. They're going to have to divert themselves. Kinguin trying to blast on down there. Everybody coming into the circle and trying to find a home. There's not a lot available.
Liquid doesn't have anywhere they can really push. switch to right now. They're trying to come off the outside of this. Wildcard's going to be just down below them as they come out. And I like this. They're separating out. Looks like they might actually try to play potentially around this hill location. Yeah, they're going to look at this, use the divots down on it, try to take the pot shots as other people transition in. So many squads, again, going for that hard center right now. We're seeing such a congestion of teams right smack dab on top of Milta.
Liquid finds check shooter. That's obviously a battle for points between those two. We do see Fuzzface getting knocked. They were in a compound to the south side. Gustav and Dignitas also going down. He's been eliminated as Papaya goes down as well. Everybody trying to collapse in. Liquid, oh, they're trying to find a home. Oh, my word, Scoom. I don't think you can accelerate anymore, mate. You're going to have to get out of that one. I don't think you can really reverse out of it.
Throw down the smokes there. Almost looks like he's burning out the back tire, just like popping a wheelie as he's going off there. Nopnop's going to be running right by Envious, and they're not going to allow that to happen.
They're gone.
Both of them.
First team eliminated is Rusky. Fuzzface has been eliminated as well by Uncivil. So Dignitas continues to push on down as FaZe go down to 3. And obviously everybody going to be looking at that kill feed and seeing a member of FaZe go down, and it's going to lift the spirits of all of those teams that are chasing at the moment and trying to secure some kills. Oh, Team Secret, they're already in there. Two-way comes straight in around the corner. Manages to hop out. MPX tries to take the shots through. Will get him down with the UMP. Tume just up against the wall.
He's taking a lot of damage on this. Bean's coming around the outside of it. Opts into pulling back because he's taking so much damage. He gets knocked as he pulls back off of this. You can see that now it's just NPX. He's playing on the outside, trying to make it back over to his friend, potentially get this res off. But the whole time there's been heals coming out from Wildcard. They might be able to see this or decide to push on it. They don't know how many are out there. They're actually going to opt into a res as well. So everybody's just kind of taking a quick breather, seeing what's going to be happening with it.
Dignitas managed to take down another member of FaZe Clan. Yempty goes down, FaZe down to 2. Big lift of spirits for just about everyone. Liquid, you can see how close they were. We saw Scoom was very much wedged in. Wildcard, are they going to breach this one? I'm not too sure they will. I mean, the wise choice would be to back away, but the problem is if they do back away, they leave themselves very exposed to the windows. You can see they've got Sharp Shot over in the distance to try and give them some cover. James here picked up that Mark 14 earlier on, getting ready to try and take some shots on Purdy as he tries to go for a very long-range nade.
I think that
might. It's going to.
Ooh, be a little
shy
short there. That's going to provide a little bit of smoke to allow Purdy to actually run over there. So nice use of the nade to get himself to a little bit better of a spot.
I think you're very nice in forgiving him, saying that the smoke allowed him to move. I think Imori's butt cheeks managed to clench and he had to move as soon as that nade popped in the doorway. The Knights rotated, by the way. They are the one team that's still rotating. They actually went way around the western side, the eastern side, sorry, down on the coastline. So they've come all the way around the back of Milta himself, and Kingwin going to be keeping them out. So they've gone sort of rock face side, but they're really, everybody else now got themselves a position, nobody else on the move.
It seems like Optic's thinking the same way you are. You're talking about how it's going to probably shift up towards the north. Right now, Optic is really the only ones in that lumberyard area.
I actually think Vitality in a very good position because we know it will shift away from water, right? So we know it's almost certainly going to be in and around Milta, sort of to the northern side of it.
We got to be careful with that. We can say it too many times. We might cast or curse it and end up being a bridge game, which I know none of the players would enjoy.
That's very true. But okay, so there we go. It goes in the third. The fourth circles, when it shifts, it will go up towards the non-side and pull away from that water. So we know that Milta obviously now is almost certainly the focus point, and we do see Vitality on the move. Everybody that went farm pushing in from west to east. Everybody trying to collapse in on Milta. It's going to be an urban warfare battle to finish this game off.
And look at this. Vitality is trying to run back down inside of Milta. This is their normal home, but everybody's already occupied it. Shots are coming out everywhere. Steez, you can see lining up, can see Tempo Storm pulling on the outside of this, trying to race their way around. Everybody's going for a reposition, and Nova actually comes out, crashes onto the beach. You can see Vitality is just trying to make it through. He does manage to make it inside that building.
And that's a big triple stack building as well. That's what Vitality go for. They're obviously the Milta masters, but they have got Nova on their back. Liquid here, you can see stuck down at the farm there, trying to get shots and try and pick up kills. They see an easy shot there, and he's going to get a quick pop shots on Purdy. It's not enough to finish him off, though. Liquid, they're still, Scooby's in the circle, but these guys are out of it.
Yeah, these are the only two squads that haven't managed to make it inside the safe circle yet, and neither one of them necessarily wants to be the first to move on this. If Smithy or Purdy try to pull out of this, they'll just get ripped apart by Liquid. If Liquid tries to retreat back, there's good chances that Totality could just take some pot shots into the back of him. Scoom's going to potentially provide a little bit of cover for him up top. I think he may be, no, as he's moving, okay, I was about to say, I think he might be stuck. But you can see Jim's still looking back down in that direction. They do not want to let Totality out of their sights.
Just trying to peek around. You hear the bike blasting off that Samty, going off to join Scoom. So Totality very much being locked out of this engagement. They are going to try and find a way out. That's not going to fit through there. Purdy, you're going to have to go the other way around.
Yeah, he can still squeeze it out backside there, and he's going to have to run very, very quickly, though, because we are seeing a little bit of a reposition from Liquid. Okay, Scoom is now moving. Yeah, I think he got stuck on something with that Jeep that was up there, so Stampy came up there, saved his boy, but this also gives them a pretty good position to where now they can flank around Totality.
I like Optic. Remember, Optic obviously sitting safe at the moment. They decided to sit far north, and they've just like kept out of the fight, kept out of the engagements. They do have Envy in that shack, but they're just going to realize that's not really a place to be. They're obviously fighting for points positions. Optic still haven't picked up a win yet, and they're safe in the hillside at the moment.
Well, it's only one member of Envy that's positioned down there. You can already see that Jesse Lowell's already come down to Milton as well. Totality does look like they managed to disengage on that. Got the buggy, going to be hard rolling it in. But the problem is 53 people alive. Where do you go at this point? I think they're just going to have to opt into shack life.
Yeah, they should just about be safe. You saw Poonage just dropping down there, so Godrez realized there is somebody that's now just come into their territory, so nades certainly possible. Interrogate's going to try and get the hell out of there and join his team, but they're going to get caught out. Lost gets tagged out by Jeeves. That Mark 14 is lethal. He will conclude the kill as Interrogate hangs on 2 wheels, pulls up, but now look at it. They've repositioned Godrez. A couple of nades would be crucial right now, but instead they're going to peek.
Take a couple of shots, let them know that they're there. Totality, though, they play very, very aggressive. Look at this, stepping forward. They're not afraid to take a fight. Totality knows that they need those points. Remember, we were talking about it earlier. Long-range nade coming out. Is it going to connect over with Purdy? It's going to be pretty close. Actually goes a little bit past him, but a secondary grenade does follow it up. Poonage does get the down on top of it. You see, Totality's now really having to play off the back foot.
They're stuck in the shack, and there's no way out of it. One nade that managed to find its way in there would be crucial.
That's like a mini red zone happening around him right now. You can just hear the explosion after explosion. Finally, we do see him go down with one last nade coming out from Prodigy. Poonage really wants this. They do not want to let them have anybody right back behind him in the potential shift on this next circle. So they're flanking around 2 different points.
Smithy tries to push up. Interrogate's been dealt with. Smithy tries to get around the side. He manages to get Poonage down. Will finish off that kill as well. But now you can see little Prodigy pushing around that edge of that smoke, knowing where he is. Poonage also finished off.
Trying to get that information. You can see that Smithy just dropped down. More nades coming out. I think from the way that one looked, I think it was a flashbang potentially, so.
I hate to say we can predict it, but the circle does shift. There we go. Lil Prodigy will finish it off. Totality go down in 15th place. It has completely swung away from the water. No surprises there. Goes in towards the sides of Milta and the hillside. Now, there's a couple looking towards the shacks there. FaZe themselves going in towards that shack. That's a risky spot. They're going to get themselves out of there. Kingwin, they're going to join up and try and match their team up. Oh, that's dangerous. They've gone straight outside Vitality. Vardy's coming through. Oh, surprise! Wasn't expecting a rock says. Nobody expects the Frenchman to be in and around there. He's well away from his team as well.
See, Kingwin just hard crashed that. That was no fear. They just jumped in vehicles, hard pushed over to this position. Knights are actually looking like they were going to pull into there. They're going to stop on the outside of it. FaZe is still off in the distance. You can see they're hopping into vehicles. It's going to be interesting to see how they try to make a play off of this. They're under so much pressure right now. You can see the guys from Liquid are starting to connect up, but they're actually starting to push over towards Optic Gaming.
Yeah, and that's obviously a massive points battle between those two. Kingwin themselves, plumb center in Milta. They've got a lot of work to do along with the Knights. They're down to 3. They're going to come around. They managed to get a glimpse of Shadow. Do manage to get a clip on him, but he will retreat to the top of the stairs. Dre being tagged out.
I think we've got a little bit of server issues going on with the spectator there, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Got the grenade come out. Looks like it might be correcting itself there.
Well, let's hope so. We do see there was a down. I saw Optic getting one down, but I think they're going to get the revive back on there. The guys out the side there, nades going back and forward inside Milta, finding homes on both Vitality and the Knights. Gaxi getting himself the kill there as the guys from Godrez, the only ones outside the circle now, try and find a way in. They're going to go beachfront, but look at this. There's Team Secret, there's Nova. They're all going to be taking shots at them. Tempo Storm even trying to get an angle on this one as well to try and light them up as they move the way in.
TZ is just powering right into Milta. He's going to crash over right next to where we saw Kingwin land at earlier. Nova's just trying to pepper in anybody that they can. You can see Prodigy's taking so much damage. Landoon does manage to line it up and get him down. Patcap's going to fall right up back behind this. He takes so much damage and he goes down down as well. This is turning terrible for the guys from SafeRes.
Gaxi managed to steal the kill away. Godres. Yeah, I mean, it's a mixed team. Right? It's all right. You're afraid. You know what amazes me? The mixed team is above a lot of pro teams. That's what really amazes me. There's some really underperforming teams on this land that need to have a bit of a talking after this event, and obviously it is the last one for a while. We got PGI coming up in the future. Gaxi, he is on a mission himself. Kinguin starting to secure quite a few kills in Milta at the moment. I'd love to see how much they're on. Little Prodigy going down as well. Is that the entirety? No, so Steezy's still alive.
You can see right now 41 people alive. Everybody's kind of posted up and not a lot of shots coming out. Everybody's trying to gather information. So we hit this kind of like lull point where nobody's really wanting to move in Milta. They don't want to give away their positions. You can see Tempo Storm's taking some long-range pot shots over at the guys at Liquid. It's all the long-range shots. None of the guys that are very centralized right now are really shooting at each other. And finally, we do see that Secret looks like they get a line of sight over towards Tempo Storm.
It beats her with an AWM. That's a scary thought in itself. Fiend with a SKS trying to find an angle on Tempo Storm, not really working out for them. Tempo, actually, your boy Dre's got a crate dropped on him. I don't know how that's gone right into the middle of Milta. That's a present, if ever there was one there. They've managed to loot that one clean. Envious looking to see. Where's he going to go? North or south? East or west? And it goes, oh my word. Okay, FaZe Clan, they're in a little shack inside the circle, aren't they? Of course they are. Where else would they be?
This is going to be really interesting. So we're going to have a lot of the guys that are inside Milta. They're going to have to move over to this northeastern area. There's a wide open plain just sitting out there. The guys in FaZe can actually look up that hillside. So as Optic have to move down, as Liquid have to move down, as Digger going to have to move down, they can just take pot shots at everybody that's having to run out in the open. Tempo Storm's coming through. They're going to circle around on the outside of this, but going to run right into Nova.
Yeah, it's the exact same route. They just managed to watch a team getting wiped out there. Steezy being the one. They've tried to post it up on the small coastline. Evil Knievel, eat your heart out. Your boy Dre behind the wheel, making his way through, but he's gone straight up to Kinguin. Kinguin blast on through. The Knights managing to rattle the shots on Space Station. They try and crash their door. That's not going to work out. Space Station get themselves destroyed by the Knights. 3 kills to them. There's only 2 surviving, but they're getting the kills. Oh, Liquid crashing off FaZe. They're coming around the side.
For the shack. This is so many points up right now.
There's only 2 FaZe. There's only 2 FaZe in there, but they managed to get Santi. They managed to get Yeet Jeeves. Hacksteady will get taken down by a beater, and finally they blast on through. FaZe go down in 14th place, but it's cost Liquid so much.
Look at how much damage came into that. Dignitas is watching down this whole time. They need to go for a reposition. They know that Optic is coming up back behind him. You can see they keep glancing up. Optic is full on spread out. There's somebody that's sneaking up right back behind him. We've got Baja and Valiant coming on the outside of this, right back behind Dignitas. It looks like the other players are going to be pushing down the hillside. Really, it's just these guys on the outside right now.
You know, that ballsy play from Tempo Storms put them in a really good position. Like, they went blasting in on 2 bikes and managed to get themselves pretty much center circle. But Hawaka and Optic, they all need to make this move. So they've chose to go around the side, but they're pushing in on Dignitas. They've been trading blows back and forth. And Nate's going to roll straight up to Bahawaka. Does a lot of damage towards him. He realizes he's a little too close for comfort and will back away. Hetra's going to blast in. He's going to look around the side. He's going to have a great angle as he gets in there. Gets Wookie Bookie down straight away. Uncivil's just behind the rocks down the side there. There's another to his left as well. Optic pushing.
Look at this. You can see Hetra really wants this. This was a crazy play to come out. Now they're having to do a flank around the outside of this rock. The guys from Dignitas did a full retreat back. Circle's closing in right now, so the other guys from Optic have to run down.
Liquid taking shots as well. They're coming out, so Dignitas literally are between a rock and a very hard place, being a pizza with an AWM taking shots. Optic, look at them pushing down. There is a mini red zone straight on top. The molly. Adam is just tucked against the wall. The smallest point to keep him alive.
Managing to avoid the Viking funeral coming out there, but now everybody's just turned their sights over towards Optic. Look at everybody inside of Milta right now. 32 people alive, and so many duos are posted up inside. All right, so many squads are up in there right now.
Tempo Storm, what are they going to do? Gaxi manages to find Nova around the side there. Optic. I mean, the bike is right next to him. There's really nothing he can do, and there's definitely nothing he can do now. The circle goes into the fields of Milta. There's a corner piece of Milta, but all of that real estate is taken. Adam's just going to go for it. Why not? They've just picked up a chicken dinner, but it's going to be an absolute unenviable task. Scooms found Bahawaka in the hillside. As Adam Blast, he's going to make it to the shack. Oh, he's got there. Can he get alive? There's bullets ricocheting off the side, and he gets in there.
He survived somehow. I cannot believe that everybody was looking back up at Optic. Optic. They were looking at Liquid. He manages to just hard run it in there, somehow manages to survive. Now we've got everything that's starting to pop up around the Milta area, as everybody's going to have to choose between staying in the southern area or trying to cross their road. That road is wide out and in the open.
Wildcard coming into the cafe, but Secret already own it. He's holding the angle with a shotgun.
We've all been here before.
NPX, boom! Oh! He survived somehow. I don't know. Fiend picks around the side. He gets himself Pride down. But that's all about. They're going to get Pride points. It's just about anything they can hold. Tume goes down. Looks towards another. That Scarrel is out of bullets. And down go Team Secret in 13th place.
All right, that drops us down to 29 now. Wildcard now get control pretty firmly of that area that they're in. You can see off to the side of it, we've got Kinguin that's starting to get into a little bit of a fight with Tempo Storm over there. Our guys from Vitality still alive in their home city of Milta right now. So Kinguin has a nice position. Look at Larson. He has line of sight on everything.
Wildcard choosing to try and push. They're going in towards Liquid. There's only 2 members. We've already seen Liquid crash in the party of FaZe as they try and get around the side there. This is risky from Optic. This is a points battle between these 2 teams. Going to try and go for the little underhand nade. Goes out to the side. Pizza's going to have to step outside. Tries to pop one of his own. Gone to the left. Looks towards the right. Gets another little nade across towards Hipok. He has to back away. He's got Headcrab pushing on. Lip Pizza goes wild and lights up Optic. They're in all sorts of trouble. I think they just went down. There's 1 man left. Valiant inside. There's 1 inside the right. Hipok.
He's looking back up to the side of this. I don't think he saw who was inside of that. Hypox goes down. Ibiza comes out and survives that.
Space Station go down 11th. Optic go down in, I believe, 11th as well. 12th for Space Station. Sorry, God, getting confused myself here. It's getting pretty wild as Ibiza, the last man standing for Team Liquid's got to try and crawl them into the points.
And look at this. He managed to run over here. He's in a little dip so that way he can actually survive. Nobody else is around him. Everybody is inside of Milta right now. This is just going to get explosive so quickly. You can see this. This is like the worst neighborhood on the face of the earth. Everybody's got guns. They're stacked up on top of each other. Look, every building is essentially occupied right there. What, maybe 4 buildings right now don't have people inside of them?
And while this was great seeing FaZe Clan go down so early for everybody else to get involved, everybody that was challenging them has gone down. Liquid has still got 1 alive. Knights have still got 1 alive. Optic wiped out. Envious chasing. Do still have a decent amount alive, and now the circle shrinks. It comes into Milta. It's a hard shift in towards them. Now we see, obviously, Kinguin in a really good spot. Tempo Storm, a brave performance to get into where they are. And, of course, Vitality. This is the home. They have to fight for it.
They're going to be up on top of this. Are the guys from Kinguin going to see them? They're not taking a lot of shots that direction. Looks like both of them go for a reposition. I'm kind of curious if Biza can pull it off again. Can he get into a vehicle and potentially make it over there? Is he going to play the edge?
He's creeping.
I just really want to see how this comes out. But any way he goes, he can either hard crash into something that's going to be occupied, or he's going to have to run right next to Envy if he chooses to opt and walk in. And it looks like that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to go for stealth at this point. Actually, Ben Q5 comes in with a great shot, and it's going to provide him a little bit of cover. You can see Envy's now having to play off this. They're having to go back, retreat, get some health. That's going to allow Ibiza to run forward and get a foothold inside the safe zone.
He knows he's covered from the right, where Envious are. He knows he's covered from the left. He has a position. He's in the circle. Watch everybody else take shots on one another, and watch the battle play out. Nova on the move. 4 members as they try and creep in. Vitality ahead of them. Kinguin in the building, in the background as well. They're throwing as many smokes out as they can to try and give themselves a wall. This is actually helping Knights, by the way, who's out in the field behind them.
But they're still not inside the safe zone. Finally, they have to go ahead and just execute off of this. See, Nerf Me Please coming out on this. He's just going to try to do a hard press all the way around the outside of it. This is really smart. You have to assume that there's not going to be a lot of people inside the fields. So instead of running into Milta itself, play on the outside edge.
Roxay is just holding the angle, trying to listen for the footsteps. Gets a little peek. Red dot on AK. Can do so much damage from this range. Doesn't want to give anything away, though. Bars on windows, so he's safe. Tume finds Miracle. This is obviously the battle between those 2 compounds.
Texas?
And he's snuck in, Texas. He's got to go along the path. He's not in the zone yet, so he's got to keep on crawling. He's going to give himself some smoke.
And Richie's just looking right at him right now. It does throw out the smoke, might give him a little bit of cover, but he has really nowhere he can go to. There's a little bit of a hole that he can kind of play into over there. Long-range Molotov. That's actually could be a little bit problematic because it's going to make it really hard for him to find, like, he has to now run a specific direction. Shots are now coming his direction. He's taking so much damage off of this, but you can see Nova are so afraid to take any shots because every single time they step out to take any shots towards him, somebody starts throwing bullets their way.
Everybody's safe inside the zone. Texas making a run for it. Can he get in there? He can. Now Adam is in the shack. It doesn't matter. Nerf will find him. And that's Knights going down in 9th position.
New circle has popped. Let's just continue going into Milta at this point. We've got Dig Adam that's still on the outside of that. Remember, he managed to sneak in. Abyss is trying to sneak in. We got Vitality that's really trying to take out Nova right now.
They have to move. They have to move, and they know. They know Milta like the back of their hand. They've looted this for an entire year. Any battle in these buildings, they know every little nook and cranny, but it doesn't matter if you can't shoot. Landum, who pops the door and takes Shadow's head off.
Now Araxes has to figure out how he wants to play around this. He knows that he has to move a little bit further forward. The guys from Nova are coming up on the outside of him, right back behind it. Tempo Storm right up in front of him. He's all on his lonesome. If he has to cross that little road right there, and everybody is just looking this direction because they keep hearing all the firefights.
The shots immediately. Kingwin 3 on the roof. That's very risky stuff. I think maybe 2 on the roof. No helmets between them either.
That might be why they lost their helmets.
Absolutely. But they're hearing those shots, like you say. They see Vitality going down in the kill feed and immediately want a part of it. They want to secure the 12 points per kill as Nova peek around. Ibiza, he's got to crawl himself in. They pops the smoke. He's got really only a chance to try and get up and run. He's got Venerated off to his right. I think he's staring straight at him. Kaden will take him down. Liquid eliminated in 8th place.
Right, that drops us down to 18 now. Everybody's still looking back over towards Nova. They just do a hard push outside of that. Smoke doesn't necessarily cover them. They still have Vitality. Arax is still inside there. Finally, a return shot comes down. That's going to drop Gaxi. Arax is trying to look anywhere that he can, trying to get the shots. He does to get one of them knocked, but he's going to have to move here in just a second.
That's a couple down now. That's a problem for Nova. You can see Locknarb. Oh, Nerfme's gone down as well. Locknarb, the last man standing suddenly for his team, as Landum and Nerfme get finished off by Araxes. And now Kingwin going to peek over the top there. They're going to see him surely crawling. Instead, they look towards Araxes. They get Araxes down. He goes down in 6th place. Team Dignitas going out as well. Looks down towards Larknarb. Easy kill for them. He gets a revive on Gaxi. And suddenly we're down to 4.
Oh, and this is so rough right now. You can see everybody kind of holding a different corner here, looking off in the middle. Wildcard does actually have 2 buildings that they have control over right now. Envious has a foothold in one spot. Tempo Storm actually controls 3 different buildings, though. So they actually have the most control over this area, but they have the hardest sight lines because Wildcard has that high ground position that they can look down from.
And it's going to shrink into the middle. And look in the middle. There is no building. Everybody has to slowly move up. So it's going to be compound to compound. Look at BenQ holding that angle.
This could be so terrible.
The only saving grace is that the window bars may actually block some of the bullets. Miraku getting downed by Kickstart. Kaden comes a peek around the side. Goes for the grab. Oh, it pops around the corner. Sully's realizes there's actually 3 players there. Doesn't want any of it. Manages to get 1, 2. Oh, BenQ takes them down. And I think, is that Envious gone? They've got 1 left. Kaden's alive.
Jesse Lowell's playing on the outside over there, and we can see Kingwin's now doing an approach on the other side of Tempo Storm.
Larson on the flank. He's going to come around the side. The grenade comes in. It deals with Gaxi as Larson pops around. He gets a little glimpse on Maluke. Maluke sees around the side. Your boy Dre gets taken down. Maluke can't get the angle with the AKM. He knows he's there. Gets a peek around. Maluke takes him down. Larson gets taken out. That's Kingwin going down in 4th place.
Runs right up next to Jesse Lowell. Jesse Lowell managed to get the down onto him, so that's going to take them out, and we are now down to 4.
Kaden and Jesse go down. That's going to be 3rd place for Envious. It's Tempo Storm versus Wildcard. It's almost a glimpse of the first game of the day. Maluke is going to find himself 1 there. He's in a 1v3. Gets it made up to a 1v2, but they know exactly where he is. They're just going to light up. They run around the back of the blue side. They see exactly where he is. Wildcard will take it. They got themselves 2nd place in game 1, but they finally take the chicken dinner here in game 10. It has been an impressive performance from all the way down in Primorsk up to Milta.
I have to say, Wildcard really performed inside of that. They realized the things that they wanted to. They executed their plan really great. I mean, we've got Kickstart coming in here with 5 kills by himself. Pride and Sharpshot. Pride got 2. Sharpshot got 1, so that brings them up to a total of 8. You know, Wildcard really wanted that land victory coming through there. Tempo Storm coming in 2nd. They did get 3 kills with Maluk specifically there at the end. But I gotta say, Kaden comes in with 5 kills there from Envy. We've got Kingwin's Gaxi that comes in with 5 kills. Actually, look at this. Kingwin comes in 4th place with 9 kills.
And Envious in 3rd place. There was a big chance for somebody to take the game by the scruff of the neck and chase down Facedown when Liquid clashed on. They were the ones that tried to do it. It cost them dearly. Man, this game has been pretty wild in Milta. Guys on the desk, try and break that one down.
I think I might need a moment after that because, oh my goodness, that final circle was fire. But later, break that down for me, please. What the hell was going on?
I just want to say, when you talk about second to last game, standings on the line, that's the game you want. That was awesome. The end was amazing. The rotations were crisp. It was I mean, even Adam grabbing a motorcycle and taking a playbook right out of FaZe's, you know, style and making that transition and surviving it was amazing.
I honestly rooted a bit for Adam there because after he survived that, I wanted the circle to go towards him. But it ended on Milta, and it ended up being a beautiful ending here in the city, and Wildcard taking their first win.
Absolutely, a lot of great rotations. I think we saw Ibiza sitting there. He had the AWM for a little while, and we're like, man, I hope he gets the circle to take it to FaZe. But FaZe going out in 14th place opens the floodgates. I said earlier that they're gonna get at least 200 points per game. Didn't happen. They started, I mean, this is the circle I asked for. Problem is, it's also a FaZe circle, right? And that's the one issue you have as it starts to slide south. So I was really worried, okay, FaZe is gonna get first, not a big deal. They're gonna take this thing home. 14th opens the gates for everybody, and you can see them start to sense that as this thing closes in. Once you see them go down here in the team count shortly, then you start to see a lot more aggression come out as the teams go, wait a minute, FaZe is out of this, now we can try to rack up some extra points. But the circle closed continuously towards Milta and just forced a lot of teams into a very little space.
Especially the push from Liquid straight onto FaZe. They went 4 men into there. They lost 2 guys to FaZe, but the third party from Optic and Dignitas as well had played a huge role for them. And Optic, unfortunately, didn't get that far here, but all the top 4 teams going out super early just opened up everything. Very exciting.
Milta, or Milta, as I affectionately call it, is Vitality's drop point. They must know that city like the back of their hand. Why can they not hold it?
So basically, historically, Milta and things has not been good for Vitality. They usually go up in a kind of northern side for them, and when it ends Milta, they have to re-breach it, and it usually just doesn't end well for them when it's a Milta ending.
And they fight good in Milta because they've studied it. They know it inside out. They've trained to fight there. They deal with teams all the time. The problem is they generally deal with 1, maybe 2 other teams in Milta. The idea of having, and you saw that in that last circle, 14 teams left, and there were 9 of them, I believe, stuffed into a very small area. There's really no way to train for that. So I don't care if you're the Kings of Milta or not, you're just in pure chaos.
Well, Toffees, I want you to make like the King of Milta right now, because I want you guys to get in there.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I want to talk a bit about Milta breakdown here, because Milta basically consists of 3 open areas you can come in from. You can come in from the southwest here, you come in from the north, and from the east. And this is kind of if you're on foot, of course. But if you want to breach, you saw a lot of teams trying to just come into the middle and just breach straight into the back end here, some of the walls. They didn't succeed because all of the teams already swarmed in through the northwestern side here and were already in all of the big important compounds. You saw Envy up here, holding that level 3 down all the time. Vitality was here, moved even in further in here. Kenguin also coming in super early. So it's just so hard to breach this city because it's so compressed in the middle.
And everyone grabs edges. Your only option is to do, I think it was Tempo Storm did on the motorcycles. Like if you look right here, there is a tiny, what we call the desperation passage right through the middle. No one really tends to hold this section because it's centralized. Everyone's sort of blocking the outside. If you're good enough, you can make a motorcycle path right up into Survive. They did it, by the way. I was impressed with their motorcycle skills, but they got in there. But that's the last case scenario. You don't want to have to sort of take that level of risk to get into this town.
Now, one of my personal highlights had to be what the hell was happening over in the Shack, because that's where we saw FaZe get taken out in 14th. So I'm wondering if that's going to make it into the top 3 PUBG plays.
I hope so.
So let's take a look.
Top 3 plays, number 3 after a great game. This is Adam fighting uphill. Optic with that really good high ground location, but this was Liquid. Ibiza had the AWM, putting work in from the distance, and then Optic decides to go ahead and toss a little, Molotov right over the edge.
Oh, here's the breach here.
This is so good. So Liquid came in hot. They had no other choice. They forced in. FaZe was ready for them, and this was the showdown clash of the Titans. Ultimately, Liquid came out on top, but it was one of those at what cost moments. Number 1, and this is the follow-up as you talked about on the Shack. Ibiza and Skoom teaming up. Ibiza tosses out 2 nades, 1 on each side. And what he did there is he was gonna force the push, so he bought himself time. Pushed them forward with the first one, got the kill, held them back with the second, comes around the side and was able to figure out exactly where they were. 1 inside the Shack, he heard him moving right here and is able to ultimately take the entire fight. So once he has that, it goes to 1v1, walk in the park. So really just phenomenal play by Ibiza. Ibiza from start to finish in that entire breach.
Yeah, I feel like Ibiza here, Envy had a little help shooting on Valiate as well, but he took down 3 of these guys. A nade to the left, a nade to the right, and just defending this fantastic play by him. Unfortunately, he had a really rough transition from that, tried to sneak all the way in, and then they went into the city where all the other teams was.
Now, of course, FaZe, Optic, and Liquid all went out fairly early in the first the first 8 teams to go in the game. So let's take a look at what effect that had on the standings.
All right, wow, okay. So, Pittsburgh Knights, Optic, Envious, Liquid, Nova maybe is fighting for second now.
Yeah. FaZe Clan out in 14th. This, I think, is a shout out to how good FaZe is. The 14th, second to last game, they've essentially secured themselves the victory here. Pittsburgh with a huge game, or Optic could maybe catch them if FaZe goes out in 14th again. Not likely. What we're looking at is a fight for second, but those guys are super close. So we're looking Knights, Optic, Envious, Liquid. I mean, even Nova's in it now.
We're talking FaZe going out in 16th with no kills, and the top from second to 5th getting like a win with 20 kills to catch them. So this is a fight for second, and the second fight here is very open. It's literally five teams that could get second right now.
Well, they will be fighting out for a cool $20,000 in that second place title. So let's see who's going to take it after the break.